Hey everyone, it's Lucy from KBeautyHobbit.com. Welcome to my channel. I do a lot of nail tutorials here for nail stickers and press-on nails, and today we're going to be trying a new to me brand called Celebritips. I will put links for everything I'm using in the description box. This is not a sponsored video. I bought these with my own money. I was just curious to see how they are, so let's get started. I always forget to mention the name of the design. This one is called Jenny, and I got these at TJ Maxx, but you can also get them online. I paid $12.99 for them. It says compare at $20 for retail. I went for the short oval variety because I like very, very short nails. I don't really know how to live with long nails. They get in my way. So to really give these a good test drive, I need them to be practical in my life, and the short oval seemed to be the most practical shape and length, but they also have other shapes and lengths if you're more into longer nails. I immediately love this little package because the box feels so well made and such good quality. I know I will have a really hard time getting rid of it when I'm done with the nails. I might try to reuse this for something, maybe storing little jewelry or maybe some of the board game components because I've been really into board games. It even has some tips here on the bottom of this part about how to make your application last the best that it can. The brand advertises up to 30 days of wear and that the nails are reusable. I will tell you that while I haven't tried this brand specifically, I have tried other brands that advertise their nails as reusable, but for me, they never truly are because there's always some sort of wear, little scuffs, something on them after wearing them, and if they don't feel brand new and fresh, I don't really want to put them on. They include the tabs for a quick, shorter lasting manicure, and then the glue, and that's the one for the 2 to 3 weeks, which is interesting because on the package, on the box, it says up to 30 days of wear, but then for the glue, it says for 2 to 3 weeks wear. So it's a little bit incongruent for me. How do I actually get 30 days? If this is up to 2-3 weeks, that's only 21 days, but okay. Instant nail tab, the brand is advertising as a 3 to 4 day wear. I always start with a prep. You do not have to cut your nails super short when you're doing press-on nails, as long as your natural nail is shorter than the nail you're applying, or at least a little bit shorter, maybe the same length, you could get away with it. You don't want it peeking out, obviously. I personally prefer to have my nails very short for press-ons because I never want my natural nail to be visible under the press-on if you look from the underside. So if you have your hand like this and you have press-on nails, I don't want there to be natural nail length there unless it's just a little bit because they're growing out. With that in mind, I went ahead and cut all of my natural nails pretty much as short as they would go, and honestly I've actually had an issue with my most recent nail application, I think because of how damaged some of my nail tips were. My natural nails took quite a beating with some of the projects I've been doing lately, not related to manicures whatsoever. I'm talking about things like car repairs. And that made some of my nails, especially the thumb on my right hand, just deformed. It was basically indented on the tip. And I think that made it to where stickers could not adhere very well because the nail was just kind of taking a nosedive. It almost had like a pockmark on it. It's hard to explain, but it's very hard to get good adhesion there. To address that, I went ahead and cut everything, and I'm going to let healthy, hopefully healthy nails grow. And that's why I'm doing press-ons. I don't love doing stickers on super, super, super short nails like this. You can still do that, but it is a little bit harder to cap a free edge when you have your fingertip extending past the fingernail, and therefore I prefer to do press-ons when my nails are this short. I use this metal tool to push back my cuticles and get them off the nail beds. When I'm fitting a new to me brand of press-ons, I always handle each one on each hand. Sometimes you can have different sizes for the same finger on different hands. Your thumb on the right hand and your thumb on the left hand may not be the same size. They usually are, but they may not be. It's a very good idea to try each nail, and I like to put it down, and sometimes when the nails are very curved, this brand seems to be very curved, which I'm not thrilled about, but sometimes when you simply set it down, it may feel like it's the right size. However, when you're applying these, you're going to be pressing down on them to get them to stick, and when I do that, the nail becomes more flat and less curved, and it spreads out those edges and they dig into my skin, telling me that this is too big or too wide. Each one of the nails is numbered with a tiny number close to the tip. This one is an 8. They are very hard to see. If you have any sort of vision issues, you will probably not be able to see the little tiny numbers, but you still should be able to simply grab the nails and try them on the way that I showed and tell which one is your size. Now this one, when I push down on it, it is not digging into the sides of my skin. And I think this one is the right size for this finger. I went ahead and lined up the nails in the order of application or in the order of my fingers. The other hand is off camera. The reason that I pick out the sizes before prepping my nails all the way is because while I pick the sizes out, I touch my nails a lot, depositing some of the skin oils onto the nail beds, and we don't want any skin oils when we're applying these. The brand highly recommends that you thoroughly roughen up or buff your nail beds, leaving no spot untouched. That's a direct quote, to make sure that the glue and the nails adhere really well. I do not typically do this. My nails are very ridged as it is, and buffing them will thin the nail plate even further. I would rather have a slightly shorter wear than weakened, thinned out nails. If you want to do this, if you want to buff them, you're going to want to use a block similar to this one. You could try to use the included nail file, but I think that might be a little bit too rough. I would get these. They're very inexpensive, at least right now. I don't know how things are changing with all of our new rules and regulations here in the United States in regards to imports. But if you're going to rough up your nails, please make sure that you're only doing the new growth. So if you're always using nail stickers or press-on nails and you are used to buffing your nails off or buffing that texture off, make sure that you only lightly go over just the new growth. You don't want to keep buffing the entire nail because you're going to keep thinning it out more and more. I'm not going to do it like I said, but I'm confident that the glue I have is very good and it will work just fine because I've used that glue on my nails just as they are, and it was always okay. The only other thing I did was I buffed off or filed off the little edges of my nails here on the side because my nails are trapeze shaped, meaning they are going out wider toward the end versus at the base. If I hadn't taken off the little corners here, you would be able to see them because of the shape of these press-on nails. The glue I'm going to use is this one. This is the Beauty Secrets nail glue. You can buy it online, but last time I checked, the markups were crazy. It might still be worth it though if you don't have a Sally Beauty anywhere near you where you live. Sally Beauty sells these, and I bought this, oh gosh, it's been a really long time. But when I bought it, it was about $6 at Sally's Beauty and closer to maybe $20 on Amazon. But still, if I couldn't find this anywhere in person, I would pay the really marked up price because it's that good of a glue and it's worth it. This is the only glue I've ever used that actually allows me to use press-on nails for pretty much 2 weeks. I've never gotten that long of a wear from press-ons ever before with any other glue. I'm going to use the included alcohol pad to get rid of any remaining nail oils, any of that little loose skin that we may have scraped off during cuticle prep. You can use cuticle removers. I mentioned this in pretty much every one of my nail videos. I prefer not to. No reason other than there's just not a convenient water source where I'm filming to then wash my hands. I don't really want to show that part, then stand up, go to the bathroom, wash my hands, come back, etc., etc. And the little metal tool works just fine for me. The design of this nail glue is genius. It has this little pip thing right here that goes into the dispenser and prevents it from getting clogged up with dried glue so that it stays nice and fresh every time, even if you stored it for several months between manicures like I did. The brand recommends, and I 100% agree, starting with your pinkies and using your thumbs last because you need your thumbs to apply pressure to the nail, to the press-on nail while you're applying them. Now, a lot of the brands will tell you to apply glue to your nail and to the press-on nail. Can I accomplish that in any sort of neat way without getting glue everywhere? No, I personally cannot. Using glue on just my natural nail works fine for me. If you are more dexterous than I am and less clumsy and you can handle doing the glue on both, go for it. That is objectively probably better. but I either get glue everywhere even before I slap the nail on, or I get too much glue in there, and when I'm applying pressure, the glue spills out the sides, and then it's a mess. But I'm not the best at press-ons necessarily. I do like them for how quick they are, but I'm not a pro. I do stickers more than I do press-ons. Now that the glue is on, you want to let it sort of get tacky for a few seconds. You don't want to apply it and then immediately put the nail on. You want to give it a little bit of time to sort of breathe, or to start getting a little bit more viscous and a little bit less liquid. But once that time has passed, you will take your press-on nail in the size that you already picked, and you're going to try to keep it straight. And I like to put mine at an angle like this. See, I'm trying to show you on camera, but it's very difficult. I'm going to go at an angle like this, push into the cuticle skin. So I'm getting it as close to the cuticle as possible. I'm pushing the skin back even a little bit. And then I am dropping it. And now I'm going to apply good, even pressure. You want it to be firm, but not so hard that you are bruising anything. Avoid rocking your thumb back and forth. That can trap air in there. And also avoid squeezing so hard that you are getting glue coming out of the side. Another reason not to rock your thumb at this spot is if you are getting some glue spillage, if you get that on your thumb, you're then going to spread it on the rest of the press-on. And it is pretty much impossible to get off. The only way I know to get that glue off is to very gently buff it off with some sort of nail file, or scrape it off with a cuticle tool. And then you have to cover the nail with a layer of clear gel and then cure it to make the surface nice and shiny again. Obviously, it defeats the purpose of using press-ons because now it adds time, it adds the need for the light. It is a way to fix it, but I would rather not get to the point of needing to fix it. The brand recommends holding down each nail for 30 seconds, and I used to think that was such a ridiculously long time. It is honestly better to do that than to have to re-glue pop-offs a day or two later. So I do recommend trying to stick to that 30-second rule. Now I'm going to break their recommendation for a second here. So they're recommending doing the nails in order of pinky, pinky. So like left pinky, right pinky, left ring finger, right, left ring, left ring finger, right ring finger, left middle finger, right middle finger, like that. I prefer doing pinky, ring, middle, pointer on one hand, and then doing the same on the other hand, and then doing the thumbs. It accomplishes the same thing as far as doing the thumbs last, but it makes it much easier to film, because switching hands while filming is difficult, especially since I'm right-handed, and it's much easier for me to apply my dominant nails with my left non-dominant hand when I don't have a camera in between me and my hands. All right, so I'm getting the glue on here. You want a good amount of glue, but not so much that it's going to spill everywhere. I'm trying to do a good job covering the whole nail bed here because I'm not putting any glue on the press-on itself. So I'm trying to compensate for that a little bit by putting glue kind of on the whole surface of my nail and doing a very, very good job. I think it might be easier to do glue on the press-on nail itself if you have longer press-on nails. If you're the person who can rock long nails, you might have a better time with the glue on these plastic nails because you will have more surface to hold while you're putting the glue on it. Whereas these ones are very short and, you know, it's just really difficult to maneuver it without getting glue on my fingertip. Once again, I am going at an angle. The brand says use a 45-degree angle. I don't know if it's exactly 45 degrees, probably close enough. And I'm going to drop it down. I'm trying to peek around the sides to make sure that it's straight. I feel glue on my thumb, so some of it did spill a little. I'm not going to lift my thumb up right now. I'm going to keep the pressure for the 30 seconds. I will lift it and look at the damage in a second. but I haven't moved my thumb around yet, so I don't think I spread the glue on the nail yet. If I did, I'll show you how to fix it. So my thumb was stuck to right here. And there's the glue on my thumb. This does not look too bad to me. None of it actually got on the nail, on the fake nail. This little white piece right here, it will come off eventually with hand washes and stuff like that, so I'm not going to mess with that. I'm just going to leave that. Here's the almost finished look, and the reason that I say almost finished is because we still have these little tabs right here that we have to file off to make the tips nice and smooth. This is actually one of my biggest pet peeves, especially when it comes to more premium brands or brands that advertise themselves as premium, because why can't they just get rid of these? I understand that this must be part of the manufacturing process. I think these go through the line all attached to some kind of middle, like, plastic piece, and they are held to that plastic piece by little plastic connectors that are later removed. But why can we not have a process in place to get this smoothed out? I really hate that. I hate these things, especially on nails that are darker in color. Sometimes when you're trying to file off that little tiny bit right here, you end up damaging the finish a bit, or getting that little white spot right there on, let's say, a dark red nail. Not this brand, because it's the first time I'm using this brand, but I had that happen with other brands. So I really dislike that. The way to get rid of these is you take a nail file, I'm going to use the one they included, and very gently just go over that spot only. Try not to file the rest of the nail, because you want to preserve any finish, you want to preserve the shape, you don't want to accidentally have a hand slip and make that spot completely flat. You want to preserve the overall intended shape and only take off that tiny bit that makes it very obvious that these are not real nails, that these are press-ons. So take your time with this, because after going through the application, it would be very unfortunate to mess up at this stage. This is what they look like with those little tabs cleaned off. You can see that on some of them, I got a little glue around, and that glue turns white when it's dry. This is not a huge deal. I don't want to mess with the actual nail application. You can see I got a lot of glue here. I had a lot of issues with this nail because I put too much glue on here. The rest of my natural nails are a bit domed, but the thumbs are very straight, and when I put as much glue on the thumbs as I did on all the other nails, it simply just kept pouring and got everywhere before I even put the nail on. I wiped it off with an alcohol wipe, but it immediately turns it white. I'm not going to dig at my skin right now. I don't want to do anything to damage my skin. I know from experience in the past that this will come off once it's been several hours, probably next morning actually, but I know you can see that, and I thought I'd point it out. Again, this is not a perfect application, but this is a real application, and these things do happen. Another thing I'm noticing is this nail here. You may not be able to see it on camera, but when I turn at a certain angle, I can see a line running through there. It feels smooth, and I don't see a crack on the tip, but I wonder if the plastic underneath it is somehow cracked. Because this nail glue is very strong, I'm not going to try and take this off right now and put a different nail in its place, because it's going to be painful and I can damage my nail, and I don't want to do proper removal. To properly remove these, and this is the technique that I use with this glue, it's also the technique that the brand recommends for these nails as well, is to soak them in warm, soapy, oily water. You can use cuticle oil, or you can use olive oil or coconut oil, whatever kind of oil that you want. And then you're going to use an orange stick, the wood stick, and gently pry them off, and then get the rest of the glue off your nails with a little buffing block, off your natural nail, and off of these press-on nails. Again, I don't think these are going to be reusable for me, but we will see. If you do want to reuse them, that removal technique is a good one for preserving the fake nails, because it's not using any sort of removers or any sort of solvents that would damage the press-on nails. I do have a video showing that in detail that I did a few months ago, or maybe now a year ago, I can't remember. Time just flies these days. I will put a link in the description box, and you can check out that video for just a step-by-step demo. And I do also make one modification to that recommended way to accommodate my hand eczema, because I think soaking them in soap water would actually be very, very bad for my skin. Overall, so far, I'm happy with these. I'm very happy with the length. it is difficult to find press-on nails that are short enough for my liking. I also had this happen before with other brands where these 4 fingers would be fine length and then the thumb for some reason would be way longer and I would have to trim, clip, file the thumb only. That was a little bit weird. These ones seem to have a good match between the thumbs and the rest of the fingers. Again, pardon all this glue. Could I hide this from you by getting it temporarily wet? Yes, I could absolutely fake this looking completely perfect. All I'd have to do is get this wet because as soon as the glue gets wet, it gets completely see-through. You will not be able to see it, but I am an honest channel. It is not my goal to show you that I never ever make mistakes. It is my goal to show you a realistic application with some tips and tricks that I learned after years of doing nails myself at home and just show you what it really actually is like. How long it takes to do one nail, how long it takes to do the top coat and all those other things so that you can make an informed decision before you buy things. Because so many times official brand videos, and I haven't watched the ones for this brand, so this is not an attack on these Celebritips specifically, but I have seen brands post videos where they show in 15 seconds the complete application and say, this is so easy, it takes 5 minutes. No, it does not. It does not take 5 minutes. It takes much longer than 5 minutes, but a lot of the times the results are worth it and it is still cheaper than a salon and it looks good and you don't have to wear pants and leave the house to get them done. With all of that said, I hope this was helpful for you, and if you have any questions or you have recommendations on what brand I should try next, please leave me a comment. I try to get back to every question to the best of my ability. I do have lots of other nail videos, please check them out. I have whole playlists, one for all the nail videos, and then one for favorites, one for fails, one for UV cured gel strips, and one for press-ons. Basically, anything you need, I try to organize it in a way that would be easy to navigate. Thank you so much for joining me today. You can find me on Instagram at KBeautyHobbit, my blog KBeautyHobbit.com, and my private Facebook group, Korean Beauty Fanatics. I hope to see you in my next video, and until then, have a wonderful week. Thank you so much. Bye.